Not appropriate, Mr. Chairman, for how witnesses are supposed to behave in front of this committee. I also think you didn't say it doesn't matter about the subject matter of today's hearing. You said there are other subjects that matter as well, and maybe we should spend some time on those. Is that accurate?
That is correct, and they matter much, 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 much more, and I have said that. I said that in my opening, and I will say it again. You know that white supremacy and white nationalism is ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is an attempt to make the election all about race as the Democrats.
Not in my case, Ms. Owens. I'm sorry. Please do not characterize my motive.
Mr. Chairman, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's my time.
You've got your time, Mr. Meadows. I'll give you 3 more seconds.
Every 4 years, you bring up race, and you knew exactly what I meant when I said hilarious, and you just tried to do live what the media does all the time to Republicans, to our president, and to conservatives, which you tried to manipulate what I said to fit your narrative, okay? I was not referring to the subject matter that is hilarious. I said it's hilarious that we are sitting in this room today, and I've got 2 doctors and a missus, and nobody can give us real numbers that we can respond to so we can assess how big of a threat this is. Because you know that it is not as big of a threat as you are trying to make it out to be so that you can manipulate. And the audacity of you to bring up the Christ Church shooting manifesto and make it seem as if I laughed at people that were slaughtered by a homicidal maniac is, in my opinion, absolutely despicable. And I think that we should be above that. To try to assign reality or any meaning to a homicidal maniac writing a manifesto, which, by the way, let the record show, also stated Spyro the Dragon, the child's cartoon, as a source of inspiration. He also cited Nelson Mandela as a source of information. I don't think that Nelson Mandela has inspired mosque shootings. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong. You would rather assign meaning to a homicidal maniac than to actually address the things that I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number 1, father absence. Number 2, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high, white supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do I know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been Black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.
I'll yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Meadows. And now
I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number 1, father absence.
So with the fall of Hitler, the controlling oligarchies of the British Empire had to back up their agenda of public sterilization programs in the name of racial purity, in the name of Darwinism and eugenics. So they changed their strategies a bit. They used foundations, tax-free foundations, to siphon their money from their central banking system and to fuel universities, especially, to influence thought through the media and universities. And hence you have the birth of the feminist movement after World War II.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. We were friends, and he used to come to my house a lot. We'd have dinner, we'd talk. And he'd tell me about business investments, how you get involved in, you know, or they would help me with this business investment or that business investment. And was I interested in joining the Council on Foreign Relations? You know, I would have to get a letter to join them, but was I interested in that? And, you know, just stuff, you know, leading you on. And I used to say to him that I never really did that because that wasn't where I was coming from. You know, as much as I like you, Nick, you know, your ways and my ways, we're on the opposite side of the fence. You know, I don't believe in enslaving people. He was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded Women's Lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before Women's Lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for Women's Lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble adventure.
Aaron, did you know that Gloria Steinem, in one of her own books, now admits the CIA funded Miss Magazine?
No, I had no idea about that. No, I never heard that.
Yeah, we're gonna
CIA funded Miss Magazine?
Funded Miss Magazine with the stated goal of taxing women and breaking up the family.
No kidding. I never heard that. Well, Nick told me. I mean, I know it, but not because I know the CIA was involved in it.
Well, Gloria Steinem was proud of it. Oh, the CIA wanted to help me help women.
No kidding.
And so they funded it. Yeah, and of course it's divide and conquer.
Right.
And what they do is they focus in, obviously, on real problems. Women were getting shafted in many ways, but the elite wasn't planning to help them. They were planning to really shaft them and take men away from them. Look at what they did with black families. You only had about 10% illegitimacy 50 years ago in black communities, and now it's over 90%. And look at welfare. You were going to give you some money, but you can't have a man in the house.
Right.
And so that was further to degrade the family, totally destroyed. And now illegitimacy is over 50% in the general population.
The elite knew that they had to break up the family to decrease the population, to break the spirit of their slaves, basically, of their serfs. So that's exactly what they did. They told women that they were oppressed under the loving care of their husband, that the only way to freedom was through a career, that having children, staying at home with your children was a symbol of slavery. It was outdated. They got the women in the workforce to increase the tax base so they could collect even more taxes, have even more slaves paying into the system to their central bank through the income taxes. They got the children out of the home, out of the arms of their mother, in order to brainwash the children at an even younger age. Most importantly, they broke the will and the spirit of husbands across the country, across the world. Because with a woman thinking that she doesn't need a man to protect and to care for her, what is there to fight for as a man? Nothing. So the feminist movement destroyed the family unit, and you saw skyrocketing divorce rates, skyrocketing rates of adultery, infidelity. They successfully infiltrated the universities and media systems. The television, for the first time, could be used to brainwash people in their homes directly. And if you look at the TV shows from the 50s all the way up until today, you see a steady, slow progression into the most disgusting, reviling things that you could imagine. You go from Leave It to Beaver to the most disgusting things you could possibly think of on television. Slow.
Number 2, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high.
For this week's Speak Out segment, we look at some billboard backlash. This billboard was recently put up in Dallas, Texas by a pro-abortion group, the Afia Center. It says, "Black women take care of their families by taking care of themselves. Abortion is self-care. Hashtag trust Black women." Let's address the first lie off the bat. Abortion, the destruction of human life, is not self-care. But what's especially alarming is this billboard is blatantly targeting Black women for abortion. In 2014, 36% of all U.S. abortions were performed on Black women, who make up just 13% of the female population. And if we look specifically at New York City, some statistics show more Black babies are aborted than born alive. This demonstrates the toll abortion disproportionately places on the Black community. The hashtag on this Texas billboard was "Trust Black Women." I do trust Black women. I do not trust the abortion industry, which preys on women in need for their bottom line. They are taking advantage of women. The billboard was a response to this. Another Texas billboard from the National Black Pro-Life Coalition, which says abortion is not health care. It hurts women and murders their babies. Abortion advocates say that message shames women. But it doesn't shame women. It simply speaks the truth about what abortion truly does.
But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies, no more babies, no more babies.
Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, is lauded by feminists as a pioneer in the birth control movement. Planned Parenthood holds her in such esteem that it's named its highest award after her, the Margaret Sanger Award, bestowed on those who excel in pro-abortion activism.
I was told that I would receive this award. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously.
But those who laud Sanger leave out the fact that she was an out-and-out racist and eugenicist who actually inspired Adolf Hitler to implement her ideas in Germany and murder socially undesirable people. It would be birth control and abortion that would accomplish Sanger's goals in America. In her own words, birth control must lead ultimately to a cleaner race. She targeted the mentally handicapped and physically deformed, saying, "We should apply a stern and rigid policy of sterilization and segregation to that grade of population whose progeny is tainted or whose inheritance is such that objectionable traits may be transmitted to offspring." She believed in creating work camps for what she called the feeble-minded, who'd be shut away and forced to work for the rest of their lives, a vision that helped inspire Nazi concentration camps. In fact, not only did Sanger correspond with the head of Nazi Germany's eugenics program, Ernst Rudin, her magazine, The Birth Control Review, published his article in 1933, titled "Eugenic Sterilization, an Urgent Need." Lothrop Stoddard, a prominent American eugenicist, praised the Nazis' racial policy for, in his words, weeding out the worst strains in the Germanic stock. He met personally with Hitler, and his writings on racial policy were featured in Nazi school textbooks. This same man sat on the board of Margaret Sanger's Birth Control League, which morphed into Planned Parenthood.
And do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world.
Sanger had no great love for African Americans, writing, "We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population." Today, with African American women consisting of only 13% of the female population, while accounting for nearly 40% of all U.S. abortions, it seems Planned Parenthood continues to help carry out Sanger's morbid vision. Reporting for ChurchMilitant.com, I'm Christine Niles.
Human population growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world, that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me, is totally absurd. So I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
White supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do I know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.